Have you been looking for the one video that tells you everything you need to know about Southern Oregon, that shows you the different towns from Ashland to Medford to Grants Pass and what the differences are and how much homes cost in each area, and actually gives you a view and a picture of what each one looks like? This is that video. So in this video, I'm going to show you on the map everything about Southern Oregon. I'm going to give you a tour, show you the differences in these towns, and take you along and tell you some of my favorite spots to check out. I'm Brian Simmons with the Buying Southern Oregon team. Why don't we jump over to the map and get this tour started? So we are here in front of our map, and I'm going to give you a little tour of Southern Oregon. So to start out, it's worth noting where we're actually talking about when we say Southern Oregon, okay? Because you have the whole state of Oregon here that you can see, and a lot of people would think, well, maybe this is, you know, the southern half of is all this. And that's not actually what we're talking about. So what we're talking about with Southern Oregon when we're referring to it on this channel is more the area right in here, which is basically like something like that. So it includes Ashland, Medford, Grants Pass, all the way out to Cave Junction, all the way up to Prospect. We'll throw Glendale in there, but we pretty much cut it off, you know, to the east. We really don't refer to Klamath Falls as Southern Oregon. That's kind of more, it's south, but it's more considered like I don't know, it's kind of a no man's land out there, really, because it's not really Central Oregon, which is more like Bend. It's not Eastern Oregon, which is more, you know, this territory over here. It's kind of in no man's land over there, but we still do sell over there. But for the most part, we do focus our efforts in Jackson and Josephine counties, which are this area right in here. So the key thing to note here about Southern Oregon is a couple things with the lay of the land. So obviously you have, you know, California down here, and so Ashland is only, you know, 15 miles or something from the California border, maybe not even that. And so as you're coming up Interstate 5, you'll notice that weaves its way all the way through Southern Oregon. So if you were to go further south, I-5 goes all the way through California down to the Mexico border. If you go north, it goes all the way up to through Washington to the Canadian border, and it is the main thoroughfare, you know, in Southern Oregon. Connects all the cities. For the most part, you can see most of them, you know, Ashland again, Phoenix, Medford, Central Point, Rogue River, Gold Hill. This is Grants Pass. That's not showing up on the map, but it's that's the second largest city in Southern Oregon is Grants Pass. Medford's the first. But all the cities you can see are pretty much right along Interstate 5. The other thing that is important to note is that we have multiple other highways that connect to the other areas. So if we look down here, we have Highway 66, which goes over to Klamath Falls. That's called the Green Springs Highway. We also have Highway 140, which goes over to Klamath Falls. That's kind of the more common route to get there. This one, Highway 66 is really curvy and single lane, or, you know, one lane on each side, one lane each direction. But Highway 140 is much more well-traveled, better road, traditional kind of highway to get over towards Klamath Falls. Highway 62 goes up towards Shady Lake, and then connects into 97. That could take you up to Bend if you were to go up that way, and kind of a gateway over to Eastern Oregon, go in that direction. Highway 199 going down this way takes you over to the coast. So if you want to go over to Brookings or Gold Beach or any of that, or down to the Redwoods, Crescent City and all that down there, you would go Highway 199, pop into California, come back up to Brookings, or go to see the Redwoods and all that fun stuff down there. So lots of, you know, good highways that just kind of take you all around. So it's very easy to get to all these different fun spots from Southern Oregon. So I'll point out a couple other little things here while we're talking about the general area, and then we'll dive in and we'll talk about some of the specifics of Ashland and Medford and Grants Pass and other little towns in between Phoenix and Talent and Eagle Point and Rogue River. We'll talk about the Applegate Valley and all that kind of stuff. So we'll jump in and I'll show you around those places, talk about some different neighborhoods, show you what they look like and all that fun stuff. So one thing that is worth noting here is the terrain map. You can see it is a pretty mountainous area, lots of mountains, and so, you know, that's important to note, because if you are looking for flat usable land, we definitely have that. There's plenty of areas, like if you look out here in Grants Pass, lots of flat out there. Sam's Valley is this area out here, out here. lots of flat ground out there. And pretty much any of the valley floor, you're going to have a lot of, flat ground available. And even out here in the Applegate Valley, there's plenty of options out there. But what's great, though, is that if you're looking for a property where you have a view, there are so many options for that type of property, from, the East Hills of Ashland, the West Hills of Ashland, all these kind of foothills. This is called like Pioneer Road area. The West Hills here around Old Stage Road in Jacksonville. Even out in Eagle Point, there's some really nice places like this little hill here, and just all these surrounding hills. You have, great views. Same thing with Grants Pass. There's a lot of opportunities in Grants Pass as you zoom into some of this. You can see just, hills around the area here, where you can get really nice, city views or mountain views or whatever it is that you're looking for. And that continues on. That's pretty much the same story really across the region. So if that's what you're after, we have plenty of those. Let's look one more time at this view, which I like to point this out because you can see like there's a lot of trees. It's very green across Southern Oregon, and just a lot of trees, and that makes for nice hunting, hiking, camping, all that kind of stuff, which is pretty awesome. So we'll zoom back out real quick and show you a couple other little things here, because we get questions a lot about lakes and where do you go for like recreation and stuff. So I'll point out a few things here about that, just while we're looking at the bigger view. And we'll start from the south. You've got Applegate Lake out here, which is a ways out. You're probably 45-minute drive or so out of Medford to get to Applegate Lake. It's a beautiful lake out there. You can go boating, although they do have a speed limit there, I think of 10 miles an hour to keep erosion under control. But great, beautiful lake out there with all the mountains and stuff around. There's camping and all sorts of fun stuff, hiking and all that out there. Really a great spot. They also have a nice area. It's called Hardish Campground and Hardish Day Use Area, which is a great spot to take the kids and just go and enjoy the water. It's a nice kind of beachy type of an area where you can put up your pop-up awning or whatever and spend the day out there. And we just went out there for my niece's birthday party last weekend. It was awesome. A ton of fun, paddle boarding, just sitting in the floaties and hanging out, barbecue and whatever. Great spot. Going over this direction, you've got Emigrant Lake. You've got Applegate Lake out here. And the biggest, most popular lake is this up here, which is Lost Creek Lake. This you can actually boat on, wakeboard, any wake surf, any of those kind of sports, water sports that you're interested in. You can do the same out here at Emigrant Lake, not so much at Applegate Lake. And you can do that up here at what's called Galesville Reservoir. So all of these are, I would say, within an hour of whatever part of the valley you're in. Getting to Galesville, I live in Rogue River. To get to Galesville is just under an hour. So it'd probably take you maybe an hour and a half if you lived in Medford. But you're going to be a lot shorter to get up to Lost Creek Lake, which is the bigger lake, and that's going to be maybe a half hour, 45, something like that. There's also a lot of these higher mountain lakes. You got Hyatt Lake, Lake of the Woods, Howard Prairie, Fish Lake, 4 Mile Lake, all these kind of high mountain lakes. And some of these you can also do water sports and all that kind of stuff on, which is pretty fun. So that's all worth knowing. A lot of people ask about these other bigger lakes that you're seeing here, which is like Upper Klamath Lake and even Crater Lake National Park up here. And you cannot do any sort of boating or anything at Crater Lake. It is beautiful. It's worth checking out. It's national park. So definitely something that I would suggest taking a peek at while you're in the area. It's really, really incredibly beautiful. Klamath Lake, though, is very shallow. It's a huge lake, but super shallow and great for fishing, but not something that you could do water sports on, as far as I understand. So but also, good fishing for trout, and I know people go duck hunting and stuff like that out there, but just really, really cool area. So the big draw, though, for Southern Oregon is the rivers. So we have the Rogue River, which flows basically out of Crater Lake, comes on down through here into Lost Creek Lake, and then just kind of follows this path. You can see here through Rogue River, it goes through Grants Pass, and then on to Gleese, and then out into the ocean and Gold Beach. It doesn't actually do a loop like that. That'd be pretty cool, but it doesn't do that. And then you've got Applegate Lake, which goes from the Applegate River, goes from Applegate Lake down here and flows into the Rogue River, actually over in here, out there. So so those are great. Lots of good fishing on the Rogue River, rafting, all sorts of fun stuff like that, recreation wise. Really, really amazing opportunities there. And the Applegate River, kind of same deal, smaller river, so not as much for like rafting and stuff, but great, swimming holes, and I know some people fish on that river and stuff like that. So anyways, lots of opportunities for that type of stuff. So that is the general lay of the land. Let's dive into Ashland and start our way from the south and work our way up to the north as we kind of cruise through some of these towns. So I'll show you the 3D view because I think it's cool to see what Ashland is all about when you're looking at it from this type of view. So you can see hills over here on the west side. You've got the hills over here on the east side. And what's nice about that is they're very different. So like if you look at these are very treed, foresty kind of mountains, and these are more open, grassy. In the springtime, you get this kind of greenery that you're seeing over on this side. And then, it all obviously dries out and turns more that yellow later in the year. But one thing I forgot to mention while we're here is Mount Ashland is right here outside of Ashland. So pretty cool spot there to be able to just pop in and go skiing and everything, and you're close proximity to town. But let's dive into Ashland itself. The main area and kind of focus of Ashland is the Plaza, which is, we'll zoom in right down in here. And this is where, if you've seen any of the other videos on the channel, we talk a lot about this area. There's restaurants and shops and all sorts of great stuff. You have the Oregon Shakespeare Festival right here. You have Lithia Park right here. It's a big, huge park with a creek running through it that goes all through here. Really, really, awesome area. And let's actually pop our little guy down here and I'll show you what that looks like from the street view, because it's pretty sweet. So there it is, Ashland Plaza. You have the Lithia water. If you are in Ashland, that's like a rite of passage. You have to try it. You can read this little billboard here or whatever that is about it, and it explains what the Lithia water is. It tastes disgusting, but you need to try it if you're there, like a rite of passage, like I said. But again, this is the Plaza. It's beautiful. Lots of restaurants and shops and all sorts of fun stuff. Let's walk over this way. You can see some different things here. I want to point out while we're here, if you see this little white building, if you're over there in Ashland, you see this little white building, you should go pop on in there. That's Melissa Redding, Strategy One Home Loans. She is our preferred lender. She's amazing, and you can go in there and say hi to her and her team. They're right off of the Ashland Plaza, so no excuses if you're checking the place out. She's definitely worth swinging by and saying hello to, and getting maybe some recommendations on where to go for lunch or for a good beer or something. I love this place right here, Osteria Labricola, Italian restaurant, one of my favorites in Ashland. But the Plaza, is awesome because you're this close to Lithia Park, right? So you're just literally walk right down the street, and that's the gateway to Lithia Park right there. And you can walk this path all through, and there's a creek, like I mentioned, and all sorts of fun stuff in there. Japanese garden. Love this spot right here too. Scout, really cool. Local brewery. You've got the creek right behind you. Just a great little, ambiance there. Good spot to check in and have a beer while you're, out walking around and exploring the town. If you go back over this way, we'll pop our little guy back down here and just show you. We were just down there in the Plaza, so we turn around and look up Main Street here. You can see this big building, and that is one of the best hotels. And again, still, shops and everything, Varsity Theater, still lining the streets. But this is the historic Ashland Springs Hotel, which is awesome. Very beautiful hotel. I would say the nicest hotel in Southern Oregon. It's really pretty inside. They've done a very nice job of keeping it up. Very walkable to get down to the Plaza and all that, like I had mentioned. And so if you're looking for a nice place to stay when you're in Ashland, that is a great option for you. Lots of Airbnbs and different stuff like that too. But Ashland Springs Hotel really is fantastic, as you can see by their reviews there. So that is worth scoping out. And I'm sure they can give you lots of good recommendations on restaurants, because there's so many in Ashland that are fantastic. So that's good. Ashland's also known for the Southern Oregon University, which is right over here. You can see the campus all over here and over here, still some of it over here. And anyways, yeah, big, nice big college campus. And that brings a lot of the various college town things that come along with that. Very, diverse, population of students. And that's kind of a fun little thing that, a lot of people in Ashland really love, is having that good mix in the community of students and higher end, residents, and kind of gives that good mix to the community. So speaking of higher end, Ashland definitely is higher end in terms of price point for Southern Oregon. You could get into Ashland you could probably get in under 500. It's possible. But for like a nicer, newer home, for example, I'll show you this area over here. There's some new construction that's gone on over here off of Randy. This area right here, Randy Lane, Coffee Lane, there's some newer construction in here. And a lot of these newer homes that were built in that area, they're in the 8-9 range, 3-bed, 2-bath, nice homes, but that's what newer construction in that area is going to cost. Pretty close proximity to the Plaza and all that, and so there's a premium for that. Another area that's similar is this area off of Kestrel, this little pocket here. A lot of nice new homes in that area, and they're also in that same kind of range, higher price point for Southern Oregon. And you get some of these other areas like in the foothills, like if you wanted to be able to walk into towns, like maybe you could from, well, maybe not way up here on the hill, but some of this type of area, you'd be walkable down to the Plaza. And this area all in here is walkable to the Plaza. But if you're looking in the hills here, you're in the $7 to $1 million plus range, depending on condition and size of the home, stuff like that. And there's some really great options just all across these hills that have these really amazing views. So if we skirt down, you'll see over there on the east side, that's what you'd be looking at, is these beautiful mountains over there. Anyway, so you got Grizzly Peak over here, and just the mountains that lead up to the Cascades. It's really pretty. So if we move on from Ashland, we will go pop into the next town, which is a very good alternative to Ashland. So a lot of folks that just get priced out of Ashland, they end up going and looking in Talent. And Talent is a great area, in my opinion. It has a lot of stuff on the outside of town, where if you wanted a little bit of space, all this area in here, you can get a couple acres. Even on the other side of the freeway, there's some really, really beautiful places up in here. But lots of great options in Talent, whether you want to be in town or you want to be outside with a little bit of space but still have close proximity to Ashland. Talent definitely checks that box at a much lower price point. So you could be in Talent in the 500 range and get a much nicer home than what you would be able to buy in Ashland in the 500 range. A big thing that happened in Talent was the Alameda fire back in 2020 that burned through a lot of this area. And so it basically, this kind of area along between I-5 and 99, a lot of this got burnt up. And even further this way, it burnt to about 2,000 structures. And what it did to Talent was it really, as sad as it was, it also, created an opportunity for Talent to reinvent itself in a sense. And so you end up seeing, a lot of pretty nice homes here now. A lot of, newer businesses have come in. You can see this whole development, going in here and stuff like that. And so, as sad as it was, it did give them an opportunity to recreate, the city, and they have done a very good job of it. A lot of newer buildings, new construction, different, various types of housing and stuff in here, from townhomes to single family homes, and all pretty nice. So if we pop down here, you'll see, pretty nice, good wide streets. Go cruise down this one, you'll see a little bit more kind of what we're talking about here. Get some townhome type stuff going on, but still people out building places, rebuilding, and all that. So great area of talent. I think that a lot of people really like it, especially if you wanted to get into Ashland, but you just don't want to pay Ashland prices. You could be, less than 10 minutes or so to Ashland if you're in talent. Phoenix is pretty much the same deal, just a little bit further away from Ashland, and kind of right there between Ashland and Medford. But pretty much the same drill as talent. Lower price point, has a lot of stuff on the outskirts of town where you can get some space. Has some nice little pockets. Like, this is a great little area up here. I love this neighborhood. This off of Fern Valley Road, Freshwater, and where is it? Freshwater. There you go. Let's drop our little guy down here and we'll show you what that looks like. This is a cool little neighborhood. Very good proximity to town, to Medford and everything. But you can see, nice, good sized homes, mostly single level, nice neighborhood. So if you look at, proximity to town and to amenities and stuff, what you have here in this neighborhood, you got Home Depot right here, and you can just pop right across the freeway and have all the amenities of Phoenix. So there's a raised food place right here. There's, just a different shopping center and all sorts of, gas station, banks, all sorts of stuff like that in here. Even a McDonald's there. One thing I'll point out is there's a building here that's not shown, but it is the golf garage, and it's awesome. It's a indoor facility, like you can see here, golf course. They have a bar, restaurant, stuff like that, and it's a really, really cool alternative if you're a golfer. Great spot to check out. It's a ton of fun. It's nice when it's raining outside or hot outside to be able to go in there and still swing the clubs and have a lot of fun. So love that spot. They didn't pay me to say that. I am a member there, but I really like it, and I think you would too if you're a golfer. So as we go, look back this way, you can see some of the damage that was caused by the fire here. And a lot of this is being rebuilt, and again, kind of the same deal like we talked about talent, kind of reinventing itself. So moving on from Phoenix, not to continue restating the same things. We'll just kind of go up here, point out a couple other things. Lithia ball fields is a really cool area where they redid, or where they created these nice turf fields. So little league games, softball games, baseball games, whatever. All these are nice turf fields. Same out here for football and soccer. These are all really nicely done. So if your kids play flag football like mine did, or baseball or softball or whatever, these fields are a great resource for the community. As is the Centennial Golf Course, which is really cool. It's my favorite golf course in Southern Oregon, and this is it's an area that is supposed to be developed with housing. So I've heard that it's coming. I don't know exactly when, but all this that you see in here is supposed to be housing that's going to go in. And I don't, like I said, know exactly when that's supposed to start or what the current status is, but I've heard that is coming, and that'll be really, really nice, because that is a beautiful golf course. Maybe we can zoom in on it a little bit better, but you can see it's nice, big, wide fairways, which is important if you're a golfer like me who needs those big, wide fairways. But it's a good one. Very nicely kept, very fun course. And again, just real close proximity to all this stuff. And as we zoom out a little bit here, and let's kind of move into Medford and talk about that a little bit. So Medford itself is basically separated by like East and West Medford, and that's separated by Interstate 5 that runs through here. So this would be the east side, and this would be the west side. And then you have an area that's kind of up and coming, and that's called the south side, and you can call this more like North Medford. But this area, if we start from the south, like Stewart Avenue, this kind of area down in here is what I would call South Medford. And it's really up and coming. A lot of good things going on there. There's been a lot of development that's happened in this area with there's a Walmart Supercenter. There's a lot of just new buildings and businesses that have come in here into this center, and that's created a good amount of development. Otherwise, like more apartments and stuff are not pictured here, but there's apartments and stuff in this area, and different things going on here. So part of the reason why that is because of its location. It's just so convenient for a lot of like the main kind of medical jobs in our area. Like medical is a huge industry here, and the hospital is right here. So that's the Rogue Regional Medical Center. And by that, you know, and I guess to get back to the convenience, you just cruise down Barnett, and then you can just come right on over, and you have all these housing in here. So very convenient and a lot lower price point than this area all around it, like East Medford. So we'll talk more about that in a second, but let me show you this kind of general area. So hospital, and a lot of the various specialists. You have the gastroenterology consultants, you have the Southern Oregon orthopedics, and oncology, and various different you know, specialists and stuff here in this general area. And so lots of jobs are all right in this central kind of hub, with a lot of the medical industry being right there in that, you know, let's call it this general area. Big job center right here. So anyways, anywhere you can be, you know, close to that, you're going to be in a good spot in terms of, you know, resale and all that kind of stuff. As you go into East Medford, you see the Rogue Valley Country Club right here in the center of the screen. And then there's some, you know, new development going on out here. This is all kind of pushing up this way. This is Cali Vista, and this development is going up that way, and I believe coming in this way as well in years to come. A lot of really nice homes in here, and if we zoom in, I'll show you what that looks like. This little neighborhood, a lot of this has been built out up here, but let's drag our little guy down here and I'll show you what these look like here. And you can see, oh, there's a person hanging out there. But great, you know, nice homes, mostly single level, again, good wide streets, just really pretty. They did a really nice job of planning out this whole community and doing a nice job with it. Great little park over here, Village Center Park, pickleball courts, playground, all that kind of stuff. So love that area. Got this one kind of holdout, nice big house right in the middle, which is kind of cool. And those types of places exist where there's just really, you know, beautiful homes in the kind of pockets of you know, sprawling communities. And you can see some of those up here. There's another really nice one. This one was on the market, I think, for almost $10 million. So if you know anybody looking for a $10 million place in Southern Oregon, let me know, because we've got one. But anyways, lots of great stuff going on there. East Medford, though, as we go out in here, this is an area that is super popular. If you're looking for a view, you want kind of higher end house, more of like a custom or semi-custom, you have a lot of great options in this general area out here. You'll see some of these homes are really beautiful, just well done, well built, you know, just nice detail on them, big, you know, porches and decks and stuff like that to soak in these views. And if we turn around, I'll show you those views. There we go. And you can see exactly what you're getting to look at out there. All sorts of beautiful views out that way and just all across the valley. So great spot there. Very popular again. And to get into, you know, this area up in here, this kind of Saddle Ridge type area, Autumn Park, you're gonna be in the million plus range. But if you come down a little bit further, you get into Eagle Trace, Cypress Point, you get into some of this area, you can get in here in the 5, 6, 7 range, depending, of course, on the size of the house, all that kind of stuff. And then on down here, you know, you get into some more of this back in this area, like this is kind of some more of the original East Medford, this pocket in here. And then you have some kind of the newer stuff over in here, and newer obviously tends to typically be a little bit more expensive. So that's kind of the lay of the land of East Medford. It's super popular again, primarily just because of proximity to so many things. So if you look at it from this view, from this general area, you can just straight shot down McAndrews and you could be in town. It's not bad access to the Rogue Valley Airport, access to the hospital, the country club, there's vineyards, all sorts of stuff just right here easy access. There's also great hiking. This Prescott Park, which is Rand Lookout, that park goes kind of right around Roxanne Mountain. It is a cool little mountain. You can hike all the way around that and stuff. Really, really beautiful. And that's, right there out of your back door. So, so great spot. And it's clearly, it's kind of obvious why it's so popular. Again, in Medford, if we look at one more spot over here, this Delta Waters, this area in here is where there's also been a lot of newer development going on. And again, it's just kind of great, easy access, hop on Highway 62 and then get to I-5 and you can go north or south and then get into wherever, it is that you work or wherever you need to go. Also close proximity to the airport. Costco is right over here by the airport, right in this area. Actually, like right here. If we zoom in, get Firestone out of there. You got Costco right there. So anyways, that's a lot of people ask, where's the Costco? So there you go. That's where the Costco is. So moving on from East Medford and everything, South Medford again is the area here south of Stewart, and then you have this West Medford area, which is more kind of the downtown hub. And this is one of the places that we'll talk about in a lot of the videos as being not as desirable. And if you look at it, we'll put the guy down here on the street and walk through some of these neighborhoods, but you can see like this, the proximity to downtown is one of the issues, and it's just because you get the same type of things you get in any other downtown area. Homelessness and whatever, that's where it tends to be most common. But if we go down here and just kind of walk around, you can see what these neighborhoods are like. You just get a lot of like kind of smaller original homes in here, and nothing wrong with it, but it's just original, smaller lots, more dense than other areas, and this tends to be more lower price point. So if you wanted to find a place and get in in the 300 range, like this is where you're gonna have the most of your opportunities here in the West Medford area. Okay, so if we zoom out from there and we look and kind of continue on, point out real quick, this is South Medford High School, and that's again that Stewart Road. So this is South Medford, West Medford. There's the downtown area. So if we go zoom out from here and we cruise over to the west, you end up in Jacksonville. And Jacksonville is one of the favorite towns in Southern Oregon of many, many people, because it's historic, it's beautiful, it's high end, it's a lot of people just love it for many reasons. So the area between Jacksonville and Medford, though, is something worth talking about, and that's this whole area off of South Stage Road. Okay, so in this area, again, we see Jacksonville over here. What I think is a great area and what a lot of people really, really love is this Pioneer Road. So Pioneer Road into Griffin Creek goes out this way, and then you have South Stage Road here, Carpenter Hill. This whole general area is super popular because it has really amazing views of Medford. It has properties that have a good amount of space, and so if you want garden, or maybe you have horses and stuff like that, and you want a nice view of town, you can find a lot of opportunities like that out here. And so again, we sell a lot of houses out in this general area for those reasons. Really beautiful properties, really incredible views, and a pretty fair price point, really. If you end up with something like this one that we're looking at, happens to be one that we sold, and it was right around $1 million, just over, and it was 7 acres, I believe, up here on this knoll. But it had some of the most amazing views I've ever seen in Southern Oregon. So the point being, there's a lot of opportunities like that here in this general area, and it doesn't need to be in the million range. You can find places out here in the 600 range, and stuff like that, depending again on size of house and condition and whatnot. But back to Jacksonville. It is such a cool little town. The main drag here is called California Street, and let's just plop our guy right down here, and we'll show you why this town is so amazing. But just look at the historic buildings. It just has that charm about it that people love. And in the Christmas time and holiday season, these buildings are all decorated with garland and all sorts of stuff like that. So just a popular spot for, you know, date night for tourists. There's the Brit Festival, which I'll point out where that is, up here at the Brit Gardens. It's an outdoor concert series that happens every summer, and it's amazing. This venue is gorgeous. I'll have to take my word for it. Maybe we'll get a couple pictures here of it. There you go. So you can sit there, watch a concert, and see that really amazing view, which is awesome. So again, also, you know, like most places here in Southern Oregon, hiking and stuff is not far away. Right out of Brick Garden, there's a parking area right there that you can see right here, and there's hiking trails that go all the way and through these hills here. Tons and tons of options up there as well. So great spot here in Jacksonville. You could be getting to Jacksonville maybe in the 5 range, but really, you know, nicer, newer homes are going to be, you know, pushing $1 million again. And as an example, this neighborhood over here off of Gold Terrace is not very updated because there's a new subdivision right here that isn't shown. But anyways, there's a nice newer subdivision right here that was built within the last few years, and those are in the $1 million range. Beautiful homes. And then you have this area right here I've talked about a lot in videos, is one of my favorites, Noonan Square. Let's just drop down there real quick and show you that. But these homes are so cool. Just the Victorian style and charm and stuff that these have. If you look at those, all the detail and stuff that they have, really, really cool. So that's one of my favorite neighborhoods in Jacksonville. It's really pretty. Nice homes. They do a nice job. Beautiful trees and stuff in there. So we'll move on from Jacksonville and go to the next closest city, which is Central Point. So one of the areas between Central Point and Jacksonville is this right here, which is Old Stage Road. And lots of really good view properties there on the West Hills along Old Stage Road. And these look back at the valley the other direction. And so you get a nice view of Roxy Ann Peak, which you see right here, and Mount McLaughlin, which you see out there. And it's one of the only spots in the valley where you can actually get a view of those, and as well as going out the other way over here, you get a view of the Table Rocks here, which is really cool. So those are kind of three main you know, views that people really want. So those types of properties exist. There's lots of them out there, and flat land and mountain land, whatever you're looking for. But if we go into Central Point, you'll see why it's actually called Central Point is because it's very central. Location, very easy to get anywhere. And one of the things that's the best part about Central Point is that is where our office is located. So if you come into this neighborhood, which is called the Twin Creeks neighborhood, it's this area right in here. If you come off of 99, go around this little loop, you'll see our office right there. And so I'll actually drop the little guy down here and show you, because it is awesome. This is one of my favorite neighborhoods in all of Southern Oregon. So you can see nice water feature here, and our office is right there on the corner. So if you're in this neighborhood checking it out, come by and say hello and come see us. But what's great about this neighborhood, it has so many parks. As you can see, if we zoom out here, you have a number of them, from, you know, the big park right here in the center with all the different pavilions and stuff going on. You have this huge park over here with soccer fields, football fields, basketball courts, sand volleyball. You have Bonnert Park, which has a nice big playground. You have pickleball courts, another park over here. You've got another park over there. And there's just tons and tons of opportunities there to get out and play with the kids and stuff like that. And let me just show you this playground because it's really cool. Oh, it's not there on that one. It is there in real life though. There you go. You can see it in that view. So there you go. Nice big playground. But The thing a lot of people really love about this neighborhood is just how walkable it is. And so if you see here, all these walking paths, you can literally go, all through here on these walking paths. And then big sidewalks across here, more walkways. You can walk this whole thing all around, and have tons and tons of options there for walking. It's also just a lot of kind of mixed type of housing in here, which is great too. So you have apartments over here on this side and some mixed use business. You have some more kind of cottage type places that are more designed for like senior living, very low maintenance yards, single level, smaller type places. You have a full on retirement center here, assisted living down here. And then you have all sorts of single family homes and all that throughout the rest of the community. So great, mix of homes and residences and stuff in this neighborhood. And it's part of the reason it's so popular, but probably the best example of like a master plan community that we have here in Southern Oregon. Also really close proximity to Crater High School, which is awesome. So let's get our bearings back to north there and point out one more thing, which is the Jackson County Expo. And so this is right on the other side of the freeway. In Central Point, you have the Expo, which is where the county fair is, and there's concerts and stuff at this amphitheater, and a lot of fun stuff. They do monster truck shows and fireworks and all sorts of cool stuff there. So great spot to have, super convenient if you're in Central Point. Also great access to the airport, Costco, all of those things. So as we continue on our tour and go out of Central Point, there's to the north, we've got White City, which is definitely, one of the more affordable parts of Southern Oregon. You can get in there in the 300 range, probably without much of an issue. And there's a good variety of the types of homes here. There's lots of townhomes. There's, all sorts of different options. One of the things that you hear me talk about in videos is that I don't love about White City is if you drive around, you will likely see some graffiti and stuff like that around. And I'll just put the guy down here and show you what I'm talking about. So if you look at this fence, there's, a lot of graffiti on it, and you can see where there's been some that's covered up and stuff like that. So, something to just be aware of and know exists out here. But there's plenty of other parts of White City that don't have that and that are pretty nice. So again, if you're looking for, just kind of make the dollar stretch as far as you can, White City is definitely an area that is going to do that for you. Moving more to the north, you get into Eagle Point, some great golf course front homes here, and lots of just different stuff in this general area in terms of like golf community. So a lot of new development happening in this area right here. There was a lot of new development that just went on right in here. And anyways, you have a lot of good access to the golf course there. You can pop in your golf cart and drive down and check it out. I've heard that there's going to be some more development happening right here in this area. Whoops, let me grab my pen. In this area right here, more commercial, like shopping center type of thing. But not 100% sure. That's what I've heard though. So let's go take a look at the newer construction in here and show you what that looks like, because these are some pretty nice homes that have come in, and give you a little picture of what this section of Eagle Point looks like. So nice. Again, single level is pretty popular here, and it's because there's a lot of folks that are retiring to Southern Oregon. And so those are the types of homes that are just in more demand. So finding a single level home generally isn't much of an issue, especially in places like this, on the golf course and stuff like that. They tend to be pretty common. So as we go out of Eagle Point, you can go further to the north and you've got Shady Cove, and nice pretty town. The river runs right through it. It's pretty busy in the summertime with people coming up and rafting and all that kind of stuff and fishing. But smaller little town, but it has kind of everything you need: a hardware store, pharmacy, grocery store, all those sorts of things. And then on up, you've got Prospect up there, kind of up in the higher mountains, and Butte Falls, small little towns like that. So let's move on to the back to the west. We've got Rogue River and Gold Hill, both small little towns, few, I don't know, 5,000 or so people. Rogue River is probably a little bit bigger than that if you include the surrounding areas around it, but that's where I live. I love it. The key thing there is kind of like I mentioned about Shady Cove. It has everything you need in terms of, grocery store, like right here. You've got a pharmacy right next to it. You've got a hardware store, and kind of all the things that you could need. I'll take a little walk with the guy down the main drag here, and you can see what it's like. But this street is Main Street, and they line this with American flags during the various holidays, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, all of those. So anyways, very cool, small town, good sense of community. And here's the shopping center there. So one of the nice things about Rogue River and Gold Hill is that they're central. They're just right in the middle between Grants Pass over here and Medford and Central Point and all that over there. So being right in the middle of all that is nice and convenient. So if you're, maybe married or whatever, and one of you works in Grants Pass, it's about 10 minutes away, and you work in Medford, the other works in Medford, and it's about 20 minutes away. So very nice areas there in my mind. You just kind of get a little bit more value being a little bit further out of the areas, but or the main areas like Grants Pass and Medford, but you still have all the conveniences because we're only 10 minutes away. And being in Rogue River, for example, it's actually easier to get from Rogue River to this area where like Fred Meyer and everything is in Grants Pass. It's easier and faster to get there from Rogue River because you're going down I-5 than it is if you lived out here on like Redwood Avenue and you were trying to get to that same area. It takes less time from Rogue River. So fun little fact for you. So if we dive into Grants Pass a little bit, there's a couple places or a couple things to note here in Grants Pass. It's just the downtown area. The main kind of hub is this area right here on G Street, which if we put our little guy down, you'll see we've got really cool little street here, kind of historic looking, great restaurants here. The Laughing Clam is one of them that's awesome. And if you continue on down here, you've got the Bohemian and their rooftop bar, which is great. Lulu's over here, really amazing breakfast spot, and just stuff like that. So cool little downtown area in Grants Pass. And you've got the main kind of two main streets. If we again reorient ourselves here, you've got these two main streets that run through the middle of town in Grants Pass that you can see here. And that's 7th Street, which is a big one-way that goes up. And then you got 6th Street, which is a big one-way that comes down. And those are kind of the main ways to get around. You've got the Parkway, which turns into Highway 199. And then Rogue River Highway, which goes along the river, back to Rogue River. So that's kind of general lay of the land of the area there. There's a lot of, different types of neighborhoods where you could be, closer to the downtown area, in places like these where you're going to be lower price point. You can get in the 3 range, or you can go all the way up to somewhere like this where you're in Starlight and you can get pretty expensive in that area, and some of the others more kind of outlying areas. Also river frontage. If you're out here on the river, you could definitely you can spend as much as you want. Really, there's houses on the market here. There's $8 million, multiple millions, stuff like that. It's not uncommon. 8 million is uncommon, but getting into the 2 million range is not uncommon out there. Lots of also development has gone on out in this area. This is kind of the Redwood Avenue area, very popular area for development in Grants Pass. Flat ground, easy access into town through Redwood Avenue, stuff like that. But one of our favorite spots, and an area we tend to see a lot of people flock towards, is this area out here, which is New Hope Road, Williams Highway. This is pretty popular, as is this kind of Fruitdale and Cloverlawn area. So it's more like south side of town. Pretty popular because you can get, still be close proximity into town from here. But as you can see, you have some space. You have properties that that you have plenty of room to to get around, have a garden or whatever it is that you want to do. So that is Grants Pass. So let's zoom out a little bit here. And so there's still some other, areas here. There's Merlin, there's Weimer, which is outside Rogue River. There's Sam's Valley. There's the Applegate Valley, Cave Junction out here, which we didn't really get into a whole lot. But the one I wanted to spend a couple seconds talking about is the Applegate Valley, which is awesome. So Applegate is very popular, like for vineyards and stuff like that. As you can see, kind of scattered around here. It's beautiful. It's flat. For the most part in the valley, on the valley floor, mountains surrounding and stuff. It's really a pretty area out in here. And it's something that I think, a lot of people, I always encourage people to go explore it when you're in town. If you're looking for a little bit of land and you want something, still convenient access to town, but you have some space, Applegate's a great option. It's about 15-20 minutes into Jacksonville. And maybe 20-30 into Medford, so not a huge drive, but it's really pretty out there. I think so. Something we definitely encourage you to check out, and you have the Applegate River going right through it, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, that is the tour of Southern Oregon. So if you have any follow-up questions or anything like that, reach on out. I'm more than happy to help you. And I'm Brian Simmons with the Buying Southern Oregon team. And reach on out, call, text, email, whatever's easiest for you. Or again, check out that relocation guide that we have in the description of this video. We've also put the QR code up on the screen a couple times. That's a great resource for you. So check that out whenever you have some time. And again, thank you for watching this video, and we will see you on the next one.